He texted a 3-word work emergency to dodge Tuesday babysitting. But the dead air on Anna's phone wasn't grief, it was the sound of a trap snapping shut. When the grandparents went silent, I realized his fake deadline wasn't an escape. It was an execution. I never thought a buzzing phone could feel like a trigger pull, but the cracked screen lighting up with Anna's name told me everything. I swiped. Instead of a logistical update about permission slips, I caught the sound of her vocal cords pinching shut on a sharp, wet inhale. The line carried the metallic scrape of a deadbolt sliding home, followed by the dull thud of a hard-shell suitcase hitting tile. Her breath came in shallow, measured pulls, like she was manually operating a broken bellows. I knew before she managed a single syllable that Dick had done it again. He hadn't just skipped Tuesday. Head triggered a 3-phase escape, route ID mapped out over 6 months of broken promises. The text had pinged while she was zipping the diaper bag crisis. Need to leave. Two's flight. Corporate shorthand for a verbal promise evaporating into thin air. Wed sat in his dining room under Christmas lights, the air thick with roasted pine, while Anna pressed him twice on the hotel booking and conference registration. Head smiled, that practiced, muscle-dead expression, and nodded without opening his laptop or checking the company portal. His tone was flat, unbothered, calibrated to sound final. That calm wasn't reassurance, it was rehearsal. Head already drafted the exit strategy, banking on her guilt to keep her stationary while he vanished. By Thursday afternoon, that rehearsed calm was gone, replaced by the brittle panic of a man watching his trap jam shut. Anna's convention wasn't a weekend getaway. It was a mandatory industry summit, booked half a year out with non-refundable fees, and a keynote slot Shed rewritten 3 times. Shed coordinated carpools, prepped freezer meals, and booked a suite 20 miles away to preserve the kids' sleep schedules. A single paragraph on his thumb keyboard just erased a year of her professional scaffolding. I didn't call him back. I handed her my keys, started my car, and drove straight into the crossfire he engineered. Their driveway was dark. The side door yielded with a familiar groan, letting in the stale heat of dried dryer lint and microwashed towels. The kids sat at the island, quietly picking at saltines, backpacks strapped but abandoned on the linoleum. No tears, no pacing, just conditioned stillness, like animals bracing for a storm they'd stopped trying to outrun. My phone lit up again. 3 missed calls from Dick, logged exactly as I turned onto Elm Street. He wasn't checking if they were fed. He was auditing whether I'd taken the bait fast enough. I waited until the streetlights flickered on, wiping apple slices from the counter and reading the same 3 picture books on loop. When headlights finally washed the garage door, the engine died but the cabin stayed dark. Through the frosted window, I watched him pace the length of his sedan, phone pressed to his temple, shoulders tight as wire. He finally unlocked the door. He didn't ask about the children's math sheets or how Anna was holding it together. He dropped his roller bag, exhaled through his teeth, and muttered about sudden board-level restructuring. He hadn't been trapped at the office, had been at a hotel bar, waiting to see who'd break first. By Friday morning, Anna's texts went dry. Shed checked into her conference room, shoulders squared, voice smoothed into professional detachment while her foundation quietly fractured. Dick pivoted from panic to entitlement, flooding my inbox, then hers, then the family group chat. The tone shifted from breathless apologies to sharp, logistical demands. Where were the pediatrician's after-hours digits? Had I contacted the agency registry? He even dialed my landline, explicitly asking if I'd watch them again while he navigated HR. He wasn't solving the schedule. He was outsourcing the collapse, looking for a warm body to absorb the fallout Head triggered. I let every notification rot. Instead, he took the fight to my front porch. Halfway through grinding coffee beans, my motion alert chimed. The feed showed him standing 3 steps up, dress shirt wrinkled from yesterday, staring directly into the fisheye lens. Wind caught his jacket as he tapped a babysitting app on his screen, holding it toward the camera like a flashing badge. His lips moved in rapid, clipped bursts, completely silent through the microphone. This wasn't a plea for help. It was a stress test. He was broadcasting his desperation to see if I'd crack and play the designated savior. I hit the intercom button. My voice didn't rise. I didn't use a single loaded word. I just asked the one question Head sidestepped for 3 days. Did he have written HR authorization for the Tuesday departure? Or was it another verbal loophole? His hand dropped. The phone tilted toward the damp porch boards. A muscle jumped along his jawline, pulsing in a rapid, uneven rhythm. The mask slipped, and the raw arithmetic underneath showed. The panic wasn't about a career. It was about losing control of the narrative. His escape hatch was welded shut. He turned on his heel, boots scraping the cracked concrete, and peeled out, tires chirping against the wet asphalt. The structural collapse of his alibi had already begun. Anna sent one last message before locking her phone for the morning session therapy or attorneys. She wasn't bargaining. She was erecting a perimeter, routing all future contact through documented, time-stamped channels only. The grandparents mirrored her silence. They didn't withdraw to punish him. They refused to subsidize the avoidance. The financial and emotional safety net had been cut. He was alone with 2 kids and a schedule head spent years ignoring. By Friday dusk, the corporate fiction evaporated. The Wednesday flight never happened. The downtown crisis dissolved the moment he realized no rescue team was coming. He was suddenly forced into school drop-offs, grocery runs, and the quiet, grinding exhaustion of primary care head systematically offloaded to Anna for half a decade. I tracked the collapse through shared calendars and fractured family group chats, but vindication felt heavy, like wet concrete in my chest. Anna isn't packing bags yet. She's pulling corporate directories, cross-referencing badge swipes, and mapping email metadata. The truth isn't about leaving him. It's about proving the lie under fluorescent light. If the HR logs match his panic, they rebuild on the truth. If they don't, the marriage is already dead. The waiting ends when the paper trail speaks.
Hello, I'm Dr. Julian Reed. What we're observing is a clinical presentation of weaponized incompetencia behavioral loop, where one partner engineers friction or leverages plausible ambiguity to offload relational labor. Your brother's actions aren't poor time management, they are a calculated retreat from mutual responsibility, camouflaged as professional urgency. This pattern thrives on asymmetry. Anna absorbed the architectural weight of the household while his participation remained conditional, easily retractable, and strategically vague. Your anger isn't overreaction, it's diagnostic clarity. You were drafted into a manufactured emergency, forced to absorb the logistical fallout of a promise he verbally guaranteed, then discarded. The distress you witnessed, fractured breathing, the rigid posture of the children, the frantic scrambling was the direct yield of a broken covenant. Refusing to cover for him wasn't punitive. It was boundary enforcement, a deliberate circuit breaker for a cycle that rewards evasion. Asking for the HR approval wasn't interrogation. It was reality testing in a fog of convenient fiction. Map the sequence months of coordinated planning, explicit holiday confirmation, then a late-stage text invoking an unverifiable crisis. No shared calendars, no contingency routing, just a cascade of calls targeting external rescuers the moment the scaffolding failed. The deliberate silence from both sets of grandparents confirms the pattern's visibility. They didn't withdraw to punish him, they refused to subsidize the avoidance. The clinical reality is this chronic avoider's construct exits because consistent presence demands vulnerability. They'd rather manufacture a crisis than endure accountability. But mapping the pathology doesn't neutralize the damage. Anna's ultimatum isn't an emotional spike, it's structural triage. Her forensic audit of the emergency logs isn't paranoia, it's agency reclamation. The question that anchors these cases is simple when impact outpaces intent. Does the justification hold? If the crisis was fabricated, what does that say about how he values shared labor? And for you, watching from the perimeter, at what point does familial loyalty become complicity in the erosion of someone you swore to protect? The answer dictates your next move. I'll leave that with you.